Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Waking up for a nice and early morning over here in Tallinn, Estonia. Want to be wishing you well on this beautiful Friday, a Friday of opportunity, a Friday of plenty to talk about, actually, because, well, we'll get into that in just a second. But of course, as it is the end of the week, or for the normal people out there, well, I do want to wish you a happy end of the week, whether you have all sorts of plans planned for this beautiful Friday night, or if you're going to be like me, staring at pixels on your computer screen and, well, actually doing a little bit of traveling myself. I do want to wish you well, do want to wish you the best, the happiest of the happiest. The best possible Friday that you could ever have. You go to cryptocurrency life, as I struggle with my words. And let's, without further ado, get into the good old live scene right here, right now. And let's see what we got on good old Bitcoin. Starting off with the daily, as always. And really, not too much crazy new things to talk about here. Overall, the first interpretation of what we've been looking at is bullish. And I've been saying this for a while now. Very obvious ascending triangle in the making. And as you do see, we have yet another example of Bitcoin having a nice little aggressive move to the downside, and then just gets bought right back on up. So you're probably seeing around all of the good old crypto Twitter spheres and crypto YouTubes and crypto whatever the fuck, great social media venues, highly esteemed, that people are talking about. Well, if we break to the upside, we're going to 10,000, or if we break to the downside, we're going to 6,000. It's like, yeah, no shit, no shit. It's exactly what we've been looking like. But of course, with this sort of setup here, I would be leaning to the bullish side, of course. And this is why I talk about the lower time frames, because, well, you got to be able to set yourself apart somehow. And anyone can fucking look at InvestP and say, wow, this looks like a consolidation. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Being a little bit fiery today. Sorry about that. Anyways, overall, we do see more divergence between all these moving averages here, telling us that the trend is strengthening to the upside. We do see that purple 200x benchmark moving average, kind of like the last of the Mohicans for the moving average setup on the daily, to start to migrate its way above the blue 377. That's a big signal line right over here. And as long as Bitcoin is still within this range, we will see this cross. Just a matter of time, barring any sort of a major breakdown below about low 6,000-ish area. So for right now, my first interpretation on Bitcoin is bullish. We do see yesterday closing above the red 10 simple, and we do see today's daily doodle using the red 10 simple as support, which to me, actually, if we go down to the lower time frames, and this is where I really want to talk about, just because very few people talk about this sort of shit, because it's a little bit more difficult. You gotta hedge your bets if you're gonna be on the YouTubes and talk about the easy stuff. But of course, when we go down here to the lower time frames, we got the move that we were looking for yesterday. We got that move from I think we called it right over here, right above 7,700, saying it was gonna go to 8,000. A few bucks short of that. I think we got up to 79.84 and a half. Yeah, close enough is fucking close enough. Overall, just a nice massive consolidation. We do see volume signature confirming that as well. But more importantly, what's the next move going to be if you're trading the very low time frames? I do think that probably does ultimately get another try back down around this 7,700-ish level. While I do think that this pattern is quite ripe and ready to go, I do think that there's probably going to be one more little move. We do see bearish divergence no, we do not see bearish divergence in the hourly, but of course that's an hourly, not really giving us too much. If we put on the drawing tools, we do see, it's quite simple setup right now. It's just spending time, and I do believe that earlier this week I said it would probably be around the 25th where we'll see a break of this formation, or where it becomes extremely likely to break, and we're on the 24th right now. So I'd say anywhere right around here is where this formation becomes extremely likely to break. I do lean to the upside here. The only way that I get bearish is if we actually took out this area to the downside about 7,300, then yes, I would be bearish, looking for a move immediately towards 6950-ish area, and then probably bounces there, and then further down towards 6,300. For right now though, the areas are still the same, and I would be comfortable with making this call on a 10-hour or a 12-hour. If we close anywhere above about 8,200, 8,250 on a 10-hour, 12-hour, or daily, then I'm looking for a move up towards 9,500-ish area, wherever this measure moves pointing towards, confluent with this horizontal coming in all the way back from May 2018, which is all the way right around about 94, 9,500-ish area, give or take. It's not going to be exact, though. These sorts of things, when they're more further in advance, you just don't know where the FOMO or where the liquidations can take you. And sometimes it'll get front ran too. A lot of people talking about this. We're not saying anything like crazy here. I'm not trying to sound like a fucking scientist. By the same token, if we do break to the downside, I do see a move down all the way towards 6,300 and lower over time towards 55, 5,600. But like I said, I do lean to the upside here. 12-hour is looking fine. And once again, you see the same sort of setup on the 12-hour. The 21 exponential moving average, this yellow moving average right here being defended once again, just gets reaccumulated upon. So each and every time that we have a very nasty move down, well, no follow through We've seen this so many fucking times, and just another example yesterday and a myriad of examples for the past 2-3 months. Let me make sure that I'm recording. Yes, good. Is my mic working? Probably, hopefully. Need to get a new mic, actually. Probably should get not a condenser, but a condenser. Yeah, a condenser is probably what I should probably get, although I just have no idea which one to get, and I don't know. It seems like everyone has a different opinion on it. Anyways, looking at 12-hour stocks, we do see that they are a little bit weaker to the downside right now. Telling me that the consolidation probably goes on a little bit more. Historical volatility percentile on this time frame actually pretty high right now, so that'd be the biggest competing narrative for saying that we're unlikely to have a big breakout. But going down to the hourly, you do see that historical volatility percentile is in the area where we are very much likely to have a pretty big move. Historically back testing this, you do see that when it gets down in this area, it's not perfect all the time, but it does say, hey, caution, get ready, because this is where, from a timing perspective, it's the only timing, real indicator that I've found to actually work. But yeah, I do think that lower timeframes, extremely low timeframes probably does get another try right towards maybe 7,900. But ultimately, I do want to see another run back down towards 7,700-ish area. I do think that it probably gets picked up there and then marches on higher if this thing is to remain bullish. But of course, keep in mind this pivot right here. And opinion aside, just looking at good old technical analysis right here. If we do break this blue box territory, sorry, not even the blue box territory, but just the top trend line of it, about 7,600, we'll call it. Maybe even could make the decision. Well, no, I wouldn't front run that decision. I'd really be careful with it. But if we do break this area, then yes, do see a test coming back down here to 7,300, 7,200-ish area, which is confluent with our CMEs. Still got this gap to be filled at some later time, but doesn't mean that I have to, doesn't mean that has to be filled like right now. It doesn't, there's no real rules on the timing of these things. Just when it does happen, I am looking for a buy there for at the very least a nice scalp bounce. And you do see that the blue 377 exponential on the hourly is coming in right around that area, which actually does get things quite well on the CMEs, as it only does trade during normal weekdays. We'll be closing later tonight, so of course that's my next big play. But looking at the CMEs as well, very good pick me up right off the 10 simple and follow through today as well. I like that. Looking at daily stokes, they are kind of weak to the downside, but that's more of a bullish posturing in my opinion. And of course, we do have golden cross initiated, and we're above all major movement averages. I mean, it's hard to be bearish off something like that. Going to the 4-hour. What do we have here? Yeah, a little bit of a rejection. Again, I do think that we're probably going to come back down and sweep this area right here, probably get picked up. CME is going to be like 7,650, 7,700-ish area. So, again, it's a game of patience right now, just because, everyone's trying to fucking be the genius, calling the next direction. The direction is sideways for a little bit. The direction is and it has been sideways for a little bit, but we're still creating higher lows, and we're still, it's just a nice consolidation here. Again, looking at the volume signature, we have that nice orderly drop off in volume, which tells me that this is, a nice consolidation, which fucking obviously, if we look at the actual dildo formation here, which, I'd identify this as an ascending triangle, symmetrical triangle. This is a little bit too obvious. I don't like it when patterns are too obvious, but I do like triangles. Triangles pretty good as far as actually playing out in my experience, especially with cryptocurrencies. Other patterns, not so much. So yeah, and this does say that, and it does basically line up with our historical volatility percentile saying, hey, this one's pretty mature. It's likely to break, I'd say, sometime between today and the end of the weekend, anywhere right around here by the, I guess this one would be a little bit later, maybe like the 28th of May, which is 4 days from now. But overall, when these things become about 69% full, they become extremely likely to break. So perhaps I am a little bit too forwards with identifying that maybe 26, 28-ish areas where it becomes a little bit more likely, as Apex is all the way over here in June 5th. So yeah, we could very easily have some more sideways here, bore some more people out of their positions. People, people do all sorts of silly stuff when things go sideways, like it's going up, it's going down, and you've probably seen it on the crypto Twitter spheres and all that shit, like people trying to change their mind every fucking day. It's like, no, it's sideways right now. Play support and resistance, man. That's all it's been. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. People want to look at technical analysis like some sort of forwards, backwards, 360 somersault flip. It's usually pretty if you have to do something like that, man, you're probably on the wrong path in my experience. To be completely transparent with my positions, I haven't made any changes to my positions in literally about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Just walking it up as we as we go up. My tentative schedule will be I will long any sort of a higher time frame break above 8,200, 8,250, and I'll short any sort of break below about 7,200ish area. Whichever one happens first, I'm happy to jump on the side of that trend. Doesn't again it doesn't matter to me which way it actually breaks. As a trader, I'll just go on that side, so I can have my opinion be bullish, but I can still make money if we do go down to the downside. And this is pressure off mentality. Of course, you can scalp the lower time frames, of which I've been doing a little bit, and I'll actually be uploading my new scalping account onto Bybit is what I'm using because they don't have the fucking system overload. So I kind of had my last straw with that over this past weekend, just because I was dealing with system overload on my scalping account because I brought back the scalping series, right? And I was actually in a winning trade and price action was going in my direction. It was actually a pretty damn good trade, but the system overload was taking so long that by the time it was over and by the time that I could actually get a position back in, basically most of the profit was gone. And I was just thinking to myself, what's the point of doing something like this if this is a good case scenario? Like, what if this went against me? I would have been really, really fucked. I mean, I don't, in my scalping accounts, I don't keep all that much money in them. So, there is an actual legitimate concern of getting liquidated. So again, that was just like, okay, well, if this is like a good case scenario, I don't want to even leave my asshole open for the bad case scenario. And I just feel a little bit, I know that I shouldn't feel this way, but in a way I do feel a little bit, like it's responsible to not promote that kind of shit. So, I've basically been switching over my stuff from BitMEX to Bybit for a scalping account. All my main activities is still done on Dribbit because, well, I just like it better. And I like the interface better. I like the overall setup better. I like the fact that it has options, most importantly, which is incredibly important to me. And speaking of options, what I'm actually probably going to do here is I'm probably actually going to buy a call spread, if anything, or maybe do a bull put spread. I don't really mind either which way, but this is one of the times to be a buyer of premium in the coming days, maybe like a week or two out, as volatility is dying down here. We do see once again on the hourly right here, it's pretty fucking low, so there is money to be made with those sorts of spreads, but still not the right time to do it right now. I'd still wait for a move actually to one of the sides of this range before actually putting it on, but it is a consideration. That's kind of my next tentative plan as well for options. So again, just a nice way of doing that. Okay, what else do we want to talk about? Let's go to the 2-day dildo time frame. We do see 2-day dildo time frame actually getting extremely close to getting that golden cross. We are above all major moving averages. To me, this is very likely to break to the upside. I put a lot of weight on these moving averages here, and we have the green 55 and the purple 200 about to initiate liftoff. What's going on with the cell phone? There we go. Turn that off. Come on, cell phone. Enough of you. It's just a distraction anyways, man. But I'd say are we closing this tonight? Yes, we are. Yeah, we are. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Extremely likely to actually confirm a golden cross on the 2-day dildo time frame, which is very, 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 very important. The last time that we actually even got a golden cross on the 2-day was all the way over here in 2014, 2015, when Bitcoin was about 350. And I'm saying that for too much, man. It's probably getting annoying. Apologies about that. And that led us all the way up to $20,000. We didn't even get death cross until this area right over here. And these were, big pivots for me. If you were back in the cave in September, October, November, this was one of the big reasons why I was getting really bearish for 6,000 breaking, like now, and that's why I took the short at 6,300, and I'm happy to hold it as long as we're respecting the 20-month expansion. And we kind of have the same setup right over here. We're about to get the golden cross. We're above the 21, the yellow moving average right here. I'll use that as a governor for a more long-term trade. So yeah, I'm happy to do that. Anyways, looking at our 2-day oscillators, we do see 2-day Stokes wanting to cross back up to the upside. And remember, this is exactly what we've been looking at for the past week. We have this trend line forming here all the way from mid-March, and getting defense right around this area. If we do end here or higher by end of day, Very likely that we do get another stoke cross the upside. Looking at 2-day RSI, looks like it's kind of building up to me. Yes, there is going to be an issue with creating divergence likely on the next big play, but hey, you never know how much damage can be done to the upside before that next local top gets set in stone. So, for me, looks fine. 2-day jewel, technically given a weak signal here, but I do like the white supporting, so I don't consider that a signal in and of itself. More of a talking point. Going over the 3-day, again, major defense right around this 200 simple, this white moving average right here, right around 71.50. So to me, we're consolidating above a major support. That's good. That's a good signal. We do see 3-day stokes actually headed to the downside, not necessarily as good. 3-day RSI getting rejected by the exponential, also not as good, to be fair. And 3-day jewel actually getting a little bit of a negative slope. These are all bearish things right here, but that also makes me very comfortable with saying, hey, I'm not taking any bearish trades until we actually break below this area right here, 71.50. Then yes, fuck yeah, I'll be looking at a move at the very least down to about 6,300, and then likely like 50, 55, 56. But I think that's a less likely thing to happen right now. But of course, I don't trade my opinion. I trade technical analysis. So if we do take out this area, I'm happy to put on a massive directional short. But for the time being, to me, looks like we're just flagging out above a major support. I mean, that's very, very healthy. Looking at the weekly's continuation as well. I mean, I just don't really see, unless you're looking at CMEs and GBDC, this is a very bullish setup right here. Using the top Trollinger Band to rally off of once again. I mean, this is the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and the trend is more likely to continue when you see something like this, especially on the Trollinger Bands, just like over here, very, very strong trend. We're trending outside, using the top Trollinger Band as support, just like over here when we were trending below, using it as resistance. I mean, that's, you play these trends until you don't. And the only way that I kind of flip that around is if we actually break the top Trollinger Band and close a weekly delta below it. So you see that we're actually not really doing that right now. In fact, looking at our weekly oscillators, we do see weekly stocks still going up, but they are getting weaker. Weekly RSI not really telling us all that much. But, again, weekly RSI would be a little bit on the weaker side as well. But looking at the moving averages, telling us about the longer term trend. Switching to the upside, we have the 55 crossing the upside of the 89. We're extremely likely to see the yellow 21 cross above both those. So that's going to be more lower periods trading above a higher period, gaining divergence away from each other. This is all good shit, to put it colloquially speaking. And you can see very easily from a weekly perspective, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from this area right here. If this thing wants to explode, putting on the volume profile, we do see, this is kind of like, if we were to line up this area right here, looking at the right-hand side, that's the last of your higher value node area. So Bitcoin can, it's likely to float towards that area most likely. That also does mean that we have, there's likely to be some pretty significant sell pressure there. And also would imply that at some point in time, if and when Bitcoin can break above this area, it can rip. I mean, there is nothing doing above there. It's extremely low market acceptance. It's the correct technical term, although I just say nobody gives a fuck in that region. I mean, it's just we rip through on the way up, we rip through on the way down, and we can rip back through on the way up. So again, looking at this, okay. Although I would say, again, overall, I'd still be a little bit agnostic in this area, but leaning to the upside. Okay, let's go check out. Did we talk about everything that I want to talk about on Bitcoin? Let's go over to CMEs. Did we talk about CMEs, same shit. Not really too much to make out of over here. Maybe go back to Bitcoin for a second. Is there anything that I'm missing? Maybe on the lower time frames. Put on the volume profile here. We do see that if Bitcoin can break back above 79, this area right here, which basically provided the impetus for resistance yesterday, then yes, I would be looking for a more immediate move back up to the top side of the range, actually all the way towards 8150, 8200. Is looking constructive here. So am I going to be wrong by suggesting that we do ground beef in my throat, that we do come back down to 7,700 first? Well, let's go over. We do see 4-hour Stokes up and erect. What about 2-hour Stokes? Yeah, getting a little bit toppy there. Hourly Stokes coming down. What about 3-hour? 3-hour still up and erect. Both the 3-hour and the 1-hour Stokes have been really good at price action recently. 8-hour Stokes are down while price action has been up. That's a bullish setup in my opinion. We're actually just bouncing off the 21. Maybe I am wrong about that. Maybe we have more immediate upside right now. You know what? I'm starting to switch around my opinion on that. Yeah, 10 hour right here as well. So maybe a little bit of a pullback on the hourly, but overall, we're starting to see all the stars align relatively soon. I'd say that probably happens within the next few days, which is confluent with everything else that we're looking at essentially. So nothing, not really saying anything too crazy there. Let me take off the trolling bands. Let me take off this. If like I said, if we can break back above this 7,900 marker, 7,950-ish area, let's call it 7,900. Then yeah, I do think that we have another run back up towards above 8,000, 81, 8,150, 8,200 becomes extremely likely at that point. And so we probably put in another stab at the overall resistance. So lower time frames though, I would not be making decisions based off that. It's only the higher time frames, the 10, 12, and daily, where I'd say like, hey, a break above 8,200, a close above there, and I'm looking for much higher. Right now it's lower time frames. We can get several closes above 8,200. It wouldn't mean a difference on an hourly, but on a 10-hour, 12-hour, or daily, then yes, I would be making moves off that. Okay, what else we want to look at? Let's go look at Mr. Butyrol. There was a few things to be aware of over here. Mr. Butyrol having the golden cross and getting a beautiful close yesterday on the daily. This is exactly what we wanted to see, closing above 238.5. I think this is a bullish. It's just flagging out, man. That's all it's doing. Above all major moving averages. Well, not the 10 simple, but does look like today we probably do make a run towards 255. Maybe a little bit higher than that, like 260 on Finex. But overall, this is a nice little flag formation, and I do go with that for now. And there is measure move to be made off this. Let's see, it's something like this applied right there. Again, not too scientific right now, but does line up with our next major horizontal resistance right around 330. So I do like the confluences within that area, and of course that that's a little bit more long-term look, right? But if we can start closing 4-hour dildos above maybe 265, especially I think 269 would be no questions asked, but 265, perhaps tentatively speaking, then yes, I would be looking for that next move towards 330. By the same token, I would get bearish on this if we actually just even ticked below like 235, but I think that's a little bit less likely to happen right now. We see basically the same setup as Bitcoin, 4-hour Stokes, headed back up, getting erect. We see daily Stokes crossing back up to the upside. This one wants to move up to me. I think this is quite clear. Looking at the weekly just came back down just to exponential support and up. We had the bullish cross right over here, right as price action tested it. That's beautiful, man. It's beautiful, man. Just makes me shed a tear. No, you get what I'm saying. And not only that, I forgot to talk about this on Bitcoin. Longs and shorts, we've lost a shit ton of longs, so that we are coming back into equilibrium kind of underneath 23,000 open longs versus 17.75 open shorts. So we still do have a good imbalance in favor of the longs, which would imply downwards pressure, but we don't have all that much aggregate longs on the table to begin with. It's not until longs get like above 30,000 where it starts to say we got too many people on the bus. And actually, now that I look at longs on Finex, on TradingView, which is more relevant data, we can see that there's actually a great divergence between there's not. It's 22,700, yeah. But overall, historically speaking, this is not too high as far as longs go. It's when we start to get above like 35,000 to 40,000 open longs, that's where too many people are on the bus. So yeah, overall, I wouldn't put too much weight on that. Shorts are kind of in an area that has lined up with major massive dumps in the past in this blue box, but the past couple times that we actually made our way into this area, not really having a reaction. These ones certainly a reaction. This was your dump from 12,000. This was your dump from 10,000, 8,400, 73, 6,000. All very, 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 very violent, nasty moves to the downside. But the last two times, not so much. In fact, actually pumps originating from it. So yeah, overall, I guess I would be a little bit more on the bearish side if I had to pick a side, but more than anything, we really don't have too many people playing the game right now, which does suggest that if both sides, both bulls and bears, want to throw down, they have plenty of dry ammo to go in dry. So yeah, I always do like to mention this though. I do believe that Bitcoin's going to have a pretty nasty retracement sometime in the next month and a half. extremely nasty, actually. Well, depending upon your definition, but I'd say anything above 30% retracement is nasty, and that's what I'm kind of looking at. And if in my two scenarios are basically we either put in a top here or we put in a top right around that 9,500-ish level, give or take, and initiate that pullback. So if we do work our way to 9,500, then that's going to imply that we don't have to pull back as much. 30 to 40% retracement right over there is going to land us somewhere around low 6,000s essentially. A 30 to 40% retracement from where we are currently will do a lot more damage than that's actually going to send us all the way back. Whoops, hey, not that far. Well, maybe that far, but like mid to low 5,000. So I do lean to the upside. I do think that we probably make a stab up first, and that would imply that we don't have to retrace as much. But what am I getting this from? Well, again, the 3-day jewel, which has been extremely good at calling these very nasty tops whenever it signals red in the background, and we see this light blue oscillator get into this more critical zone, as you can see right here, where these alerts are. That's where nasty dumps have been called from. If we want to back test it for a second, we can do something like this, where we say, hey, there's a nice go fuck yourself 56% retracement. Here's a lovely 73% have some more go fuck yourself, and another 73% retracement right over here. I don't think that we're gonna have a 73% retracement. These were coming off of parabolic drives. More likely that we have some like this, where we have a signal right here, about 40%. We have a signal right here, about 35%. We have a signal right here, about 35%. We have a signal right here, about, you get the idea, 35%. And we are flashing red right now, but we do not have this light blue oscillator into the more critical zone. So it needs to get into this more critical zone. Otherwise, it doesn't imply that we're going to see as nasty of a pullback. We do have an example of this happening in the past where it just gets very lightly into this area where, it's right over here, kind of similar to what we just did. And then play out about, about a 10% drop down. See right over here, just, about 12%. We saw the same thing right over here. It happened right here, about, whoops, not that much, about 12% as well. And then after that, you see that it just gets walked up. And then this is the real signal right here when the light blue gets really deep into this territory. So that's what I would be concerned about from a bearish perspective. If we do see this light blue get into this region, it would imply first and foremost that we actually do travel more up first, and then the retracement does happen. But right now, light blue is pretty much flat. I don't really interpret it either which way as bullish. I don't really interpret it as a bear signal just yet because I need to see it confirm itself with a slope down, and we don't really see that. And yeah, I guess I'll just get off that topic. Okay, let's go check out Mrs. Litecoin. What's this beautiful bitch doing? Come on, baby, show me what you're doing. Yeah, definitely one of the weaker ones of the big three. But again, holding up above the 21 exponential moving average, and we do see just a overall more exponential starting to splay out. I do think that it probably does work its way back towards 93.5, 94, 95 bucks, somewhere right around here. It looks like we had a good defense of the 21. I would get bearish on Mrs. Litecoin if she even just ticked below like $85. Maybe not 85. Yeah, about 85. And I would be looking for a move back down here towards $80 to $78 a share area, and probably lower over time. But again, gonna follow the rest of the market more than likely. And we will actually be seeing a bullish cross on these two moving averages. Granted, no major dumps below that $85 number happen by end of week Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Lower time frames. Yeah, I'm getting picked up right now. It's a little bit more of a sloppy chart than Butyrol and Bitcoin, but to me, it looks like it wants to pop back up to 92.25 and then probably like 95.5. Okay, I guess we can talk about the other top shitcoins, huh? Cardano over here, still holding on to its lows, but very weak. But I do think that is putting in a local low here. I actually don't think that we come back down to the prior lows. Could I be wrong on that? Yeah, absolutely. But going off the weekly, I think you play the weekly until it tells you not to. And, we got that move back down to 1,000 Satoshis, as we spoke about. I do think that this one probably tries to rally off this area and work its way into, 1,350, 1,400. Again, going to depend on what Bitcoin does because, well, the king runs the market, doesn't he? But, yeah, you probably get the idea on that one. BNB, very powerful, probably the best chart in cryptocurrency. Looks like it wants to make another new high today. Very, very good reaction. Again, above all major moving averages. Don't care what the Stokes say, even though that they are technically up right now. Don't care what the RSI says. This thing wants to move, and I think it has room to do so. I mean, even looking at historical volatility percentile, we're not even redlining this guy just yet. This one has potential. has potential. Again, I don't have price targets on something like this. I just, whenever you see a blue sky breakout, I just get out of the way and let it do its thing. But I mean, if you could do something like this. I'm not a big fan of these sorts of things, but it does technically work. It does technically work. It would be if I had to say some, I would say like $38. Yeah, $38. There you go. Zcash on the weaker side as well. But again, like Mrs. Litecoin holding up above the 21. I do think that it gets another try towards 74.5, $75. It's going to go with the rest of the market, but overall weaker. But yeah, same thing on the weekly. Came back down to supports, gave you a second chance to buy. Probably does work its way over time towards 107.5. Bcash, yeah, a little bit more different actually. A little bit more difficult, but golden cross over here above all major moving averages. I'm not bearish or anything that looks like that. Probably does take another leg towards 550, 555. Tron Cash, what's Tron Cash doing? Again, on the weaker side, but golden. What is this? A golden cross. What is this? Above the 21. I'm not bearish on something like this. Probably works its way back towards 2.8. Neo Cash. Whoa. Wow. What's going on here, man? Is this a different chart? Kind of, just different numbers. Again, probably works its way back towards 12. EOS Cash, one of the stronger ones, I would say. Let's get rid of these. Not so appropriate, are they? Big resistance right around here. If it can break above 650, I'm looking for a move actually much higher towards, technically towards 7.25, but I do think that it would take a leap towards 8.25, it looks like. Ripple Me Nipples Cash, again, very nasty pullbacks on this one, but came back exactly to the area that we spoke about. Going to bounce off there. This one makes it difficult. I do think that it bounces back up towards like 39.5, 40-ish cents region, but man, this one is such a popcorn fuck where it just pops up and then falls back down immediately. But the rest of the market's doing the same thing. This one probably follows. Neither strong nor weak in the overall general context of the market, just kind of following. Monero Cash, stronger, absolutely stronger actually. Does look to me like we probably want to make another run towards 89. If 89 can be broken on a daily closure, then I would be looking for an overall move towards probably like 115. Well, you have to deal with 100 first, but 115 becomes pretty damn likely over time. Again, over time for a lot of these things, I'm looking at them on the higher time frames, but golden cross right here. Again, same thing. You can apply the same thing. Stellar Cash on the weaker side, I would say, but probably does get picked up here. Probably does march its way back towards 13.25-ish area. Gonna follow the rest of the market. I do think that it's trying to put in a reversal pattern here. Made its first higher high in a very long time on the daily and higher low as well. So technically in an uptrend. Trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and I do think that this is a decent area right here. Looking at the weekly. Just coming back down to the 21. Typically, that's a buy. Let's go to traditional markets. Again, I started to get pretty bearish on the traditional market coming into this week, and I don't say these things to be arrogant, but I do believe that it's warranted here. We did have a decent close yesterday, so probably does work its way back towards 284, 285, and 285-ish area. Right around here fills this gap. But I do feel like pressure is down. Weekly is in danger of having a nasty close. I mean, if the weekly closes anywhere below 287.5, I would say that this is, to be interpreted first and foremost as bearish. The weekly looks like it wants to roll over. There is an issue with this, and the reason why I am cognizant of this is because there's a high correlation between Bitcoin and traditional markets. We can put on the correlation coefficient. Good old Bolly Poor setting this one up, and I'll overlay Bitcoin in the background. So I'm looking at the bottom, right? I'm looking at the purple indicator on the bottom, and that is a correlate. It's a correlation indicator measuring the correlation between Bitcoin and SPYs on the weekly, and you can see that they are quite correlated right now. Now the correlation factor is going down a little bit. But that would imply that, SPY going down means Bitcoin also going down. And when we look at a line chart, it actually kind of looks nasty here, to be honest with you. So if SPY does turn down, I don't like that. I do see Bitcoin as a risk on asset. I know that crypto anarchists hate to hear that, but it's the truth for right now, man. It's really not used for all that much. I do believe in it long term, but to call a spade right now, not like fully, not fully formed, and does kind of go with the traditional markets. As you can see, more often than not, they are correlated ever since basically 2015 when they both kind of put in their lows here, rallies up together for 3 years straight, comes down, pop up, comes down, you get the idea. Don't want to bore you with that. I feel like it's also disrespectful too. Anyways, that's enough of that. So yeah, traditional markets coming down would unlikely be good for Bitcoin. So if you do, I would get very bearish on traditional markets if we close the weekly anywhere, and that's going to be closing today, anywhere below about 281. Anywhere below 281, and I'm looking for a more sizable retracement, likely down into the mid 270s. It's starting to look nasty. Monthly's going to be closing soon, and the monthly's looking like a hunt to the upside. Institutional order flow dynamics at play, and then smash them down. But we need to see this one close first. So if it closes anywhere below about 284, I would be extremely cautious. I'll put it that way, extremely cautious. Did I speak about everything that I want to speak about? We can go look at the crypto fear and greed index. We're taking out at 64, so we'll kind of allow this oscillator to reset for a little bit. Range is between 40 and 80, so we're kind of smack dab in the middle. Don't have a strong opinion on it. We do see Mrs. Litecoin moving up right now. Ooh, powerful Mrs. Litecoin. There you go. Powerful green dildo. Hey, hitting the same target that we spoke about to at the beginning of this video, 91.5, 91.30 print right there. Anyways, back on Mr. Bitcoin. Sorry to wrap this bitch up. We just basically get that move. I think lower time frames probably do work their way back up. Am I going to be wrong in the lower time frames? Maybe sweeping the lows once again. I think I will be. Probably. Probably does test higher sooner rather than later. And I'm getting that from the medium time frames. So yeah, I can sum up my thoughts in this. Hey, a break below 7,500, and I'm looking for a comeback all the way down to 7,200. A break below 7,100, and I'm looking for a move all the way down to like 6,300. A break above our current this current like 7,900 region right here, which I do believe is pretty likely to happen. We probably do work our way back up to 8,150, 8,200, but any sort of a 10-hour, 12-hour, or daily close above 8,200, and I'm looking for a move towards 95. Overall, it's still a little bit of a game of patience. I wouldn't be surprised if this formation took a few more days to complete itself. We do have a 3-day weekend coming up in U.S. markets because it is Memorial Day. So shout out to all the veterans out there. Shout out to all the people having fun in good old America. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they celebrate Memorial Day here. I don't know why. Have some fucking fun in your life, Talon, Estonia. God damn. Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, that's probably going to do it for me today. I don't know if I'll do a live stream today. And if I do, it's going to be on the shorter side because I do have to catch a boat later tonight. But yeah, with that said, I do want to wish you well. If I don't do a live stream tonight, then I'll upload a video on Bybit, on like a tutorial video, as I've actually been having some decent experiences there. So I do want to, I do want to upload that. But if I do a live stream, then I'll probably upload it tomorrow on Saturday. Anyways, with that said, I do want to wish you well. I do want to wish you a very happy and I don't know. What else? What do you want on your Friday? Do you want a freaky Friday or do you want like a relaxed Friday? I like relaxed Fridays, but you tell me what you want. And with that said, I'll be back on either later tonight or tomorrow and looking forward to seeing you there. If not, want to wish you well. Take care.